Hold on, just for some context, I wrote this part of the review before the episode came out, and then, now... now... Just... I can't... Cue the titles. Yeah, I wasn't kidding how I felt with the pre-title sequence. To quote Matt here, this is like Russell's Doctor Who mixed with Steven's version of Who, pushing the new Chibnall's Doctor Who in, hard drugs. And to be honest, I'm pretty much agreeing at this point. Before the episode aired, I chose this episode in the series because I thought it would be easy, because there'd be the return of the Judoon, and it'd just be an easy episode to review with that plot in mind. But this series and this episode in general just blown my mind. So, kind of after rewatching this episode, I finally found a way that I can actually discuss this episode, which is if I just split into 3 parts. Part A would be the first 40 minutes of the episode, then Part B would be the next 22 minutes, then Part C would be the remaining 12 minutes of the episode. Because I think this is the only way I'm going to be able to talk about this episode without mixing up and get my points across easier. Okay, you ready? Let's go.
Language assimilated. Designation Earth.
The first 40 minutes did feel like a Russell episode to me, almost like it was emulating Smith and Jones of how real life and weirdness, with Ruth and Lee and a wacky coffee shop guy who could be a real tortured agent because he stole a dossier on Lee, because that's what coffee shop people do. I mean, I've never met one that's done that. But it was sort of a cute callback to an era that's gone by. But then we get the Judoon appearing with the great spaceship, which seems to be modified from Smith and Jones, and we see that all the right looking interior that we didn't get to see in that episode. It was also great to see a brand new Platoon of Judoon, because I was worrying because in case they would be treated like they were in the Sarah Jane Adventures story, where it was all for comedy because space rhinos are apparently really funny. But no, they were actually better in the amount of time that they were given, which was considerably a bit short compared to everything else that happened in the episode. I did like the scene where the Doctor and the team were in the TARDIS, where they were trying to get to the Doctor to open up, chasing about the Master. And the problem with this scene, however, is how it comes after 2 episodes of them not really caring about the Master, which makes me kind of think that this episode should have been after Spyfall Part 2, where it makes more sense because the scenes kind of collaborate with each other, and it also kind of gives it some proper reason in that. And already kind of pointing out on that, this episode was swapped around with episode 6, but I feel like it should have been swapped around with episode 3, because I feel like that episode is definitely more of a mid-season kind of dilemma than this one, where I just feel like after Spyfall it would have made more sense in general. When it landed in Gloucester, it was nice to see a travelling sort of sense to them having to chase something down in a short amount of time. Graham was better than being funny again after some stand-up moments in Spyfall. But then he got teleported into a spaceship which everybody thought was the Master's or the Rani's TARDIS until we saw it in Spyfall. So really, yeah, I didn't really get into those rumours as much as I think everybody else did.
That is so Welsh.
What is?
I show you something fantastic. You find fault.
Jack is back. Already I feel like this should have been at the end of part 1 of the story, because I think there's not enough time for the first story and plot to kind of introduce a character like Jack to come back and make it mean something like I think they were trying to advertise and trying to kind of show. But Jack was great. John Barrowman's reappearance was great after we kind of wrote him off, since Moffat didn't really want him back in his era. And you can tell that Chris wrote his dialogue since he was basically the big person around Tortured in his early days. And this really recalls back to the Jack in Doctor Who, where he was funny and flirtatious, instead of the Jack in Tortured, where he was more great leader, sort of, it wasn't fun. And although you could see that in episodes like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Exit Wounds, I just feel like this sort of Jack I really missed. Also, the scene when Jack kisses Graham is currently filed under the subtitle of Attack of the Grack.
Though, there is a risk that if you switch to ITV tonight, the galaxy may implode.
Another problem with this episode is now it's branched off into 2 entirely different parts, which should have made 2 episodes, as the Judoon story now falters a little, this Jack story being bundled in between it. I mean, I like the story that we started off with, but I feel like they feel less emotionally attached to those parts, as they kind of switch them over to the Jack scenes. which I wanted more of, because it was a total reverse of what I felt with Spyfall, where we had those kind of scenes in the episode when we switched over from one to another. It was also good to see Yaz used as a police officer again in the series, as she was able to stop the Judoon for a couple more minutes to let them come inside and investigate the scene, which usually happens at the end of previous Judoon stories. But when Yaz and Ryan got teleported out, I felt kind of cheated, because it meant the Judoon side of the episode was really now lacking human side, but the Jack side had more human, this time had more inklings of what was going on his side. Also, it was sad to not know what Lee was as an alien, because, the last couple of weeks I've been thinking of a theory and gathering a dossier on characters who should be members of the Slovene but turn out not to be, such as Daniel Barton from Spyfall, Bella from Orphan 55, and Thomas Edison from last week's episode. The plot thickens, and I shall not give up until it's complete. Also, wasn't that scene when Jack stopped the plot to plug the sponsor Raid Shadow?
That joke is old now, shut up!
The church scene was fine. It did give some more character for the episode of Ruth and allowed us to feel more suspense with what the episode was going to do, especially with the Jack plot being laid in now that there was a lone Cyberman part, which made me think the last part of the episode being like a horrifying rock where the Cybermen would probably invade the lighthouse and kill Ruth, or Drift where the lighthouse unlocks a clue and it turns out that Ruth is actually one of the Rift victims from that episode who has escaped and is trying to live her life out again. And it turns out there's none of that, which kind of leads us into the part C of this episode.
Well, get out there. You're the star of this show. I'll guide you from in here through the sonic screwdriver. I could shout, but that'd give you away. And I don't want to get you eaten.
Ruth turns out to be the Doctor, which then just made me go, what the... Still, on the second viewing, my pre-titles don't lie when I really couldn't make up any words. Usually there'd be an explanation to fix up in the canon, like Sacha Dhawan's Master, but I think that's just not going to head up any. But already I felt more invested in the events in this new Doctor than I did in 13 in the episode, as it started to become a better version of the next Doctor than the next Doctor could ever be, because they never played the, oh wait, it turns out to be a person playing the Doctor, or something along that lines, but they didn't. They kept up to it, and I really enjoyed those moments with this brand new Doctor, played by Ruth Martin. Jodie, I think, gives a stellar performance right here in the last part, where she just doesn't know what to do, and isn't kind of the Doctor in the situation. This series and episode has just improved her Doctor. She's being able to get into other emotions for the character without compromising the previous season like it was nothing. This is building the character and giving her chances to actually close her down, sort of like a new Who version of the 7th Doctor, which this era really seems to be emulating, but I suppose that could change with the last 5 episodes. The last scene in particular did seem to give callbacks to the scene which was in the last season's Arachnids in the UK, where the Doctor and the team actually have a talk about why they want to continue with her, and she's able to give them a chance of changing her opinions, and she's been put down for the whole revelation at the end of the story. Also, we get thrown into the next episode, which kind of makes me think I'm going to start to dislike the ending, since they're kind of pushing into the next one, like they can't allow the Doctor some time to think.
Oh, sweet. Look at these two. How come I never get any of that?
Buy me a drink first,
Such hard work.
but worth it.
This episode of the Judoon's plot would have been fine. The Doctor plot with Jack would have been fine, and the companion light plot with the 2 Doctors would have been fine. But the problem is strikingly obvious that the amazing plots are again jumbled into a mess, which it feels like an episode was written with one thing in mind and then had to have another draft where Chris had to push them in, especially with Jack's bits. However, with all that said, every plot did seem to have very enjoyable moments and did keep me and a lot of people on their edge of the seat for the whole duration, something that I think I've never really witnessed since Utopia back in the summer of 2007. So I give Fugitive the Judoon a 6.5 out of 10.